Welcome back, guys. We're here during the very, very last set of the day. We have a rematch, actually. Kanga versus SSG. But, of course, I can't be here alone because we're both going to join at the hip as Kresnik.
Yeah, there's basically no way I can not be here with Fawn. But this is it. This is the last set of the qualifiers.
Yep.
This is the deciding game for who plays against who, whether it's VP or Envy. I believe winner plays against Envy in the World Championship qualifiers. The loser of this game will play against Virtus Pro. They're on the same side of the. No, they'd be on different sides of the bracket as well too.
Yes.
So no matter what, these teams won't be on the same side. They won't see each other until the finals of Worlds. But that's a long way away. We have to look at this final qualifier set first.
Indeed, we do, and we also have to look at some very, very important information. So SSG, they are the ones currently. They're the ones currently that have They have an advantage. There is no bracket reset, so they're going to start off with 1 point already in the bank for them. One, that's because it's their top seeded, and two, because they have yet to actually lose a match. So this technically isn't game one. You see it right down there on the graphic.
Yes.
It is indeed game two. SSG already have 1 win in the bank, despite not having played anything for those reasons it is that I have just described.
Yeah, that's the winner's advantage instead of the bracket reset. Because could you imagine if Kanga win this set and then have to play a fourth set?
Yeah,
in
that's
a row?
insane.
I think
That's
this
crazy.
is definitely a much more fair, I think, way for it to go. Because it's short even for Kanga too, so that fatigue may be less of a factor. We can have a more realistic, I think, comparison of the team's skills. Speaking of comparison, back and forth, SSG earlier, they managed to take it first, and I heard a little whisper from production that
Hayes is. Whoa! Wait, hold on.
I don't know about this one.
Wait, I don't. Wait, they say okay.
Apparently, Hayes is making decks.
Yeah, so production has just informed us that Hayes is indeed making. He's playing for. Who's he replacing?
What seat is he sitting in? It's in Garrett's seat.
Garrett's seat.
Potentially, if Garrett wants to maybe move to this coach, maybe he just wants to chill and relax. Just putting on the headset that says coach on it doesn't necessarily mean that for sure. But if he's making decks, I think that's definitely more signs towards that. This would be very interesting to see Hayes play. Maybe it's a little bit of a substitution. Maybe they don't really care as much about the seeding. Want to get Hayes some playtime just in case someone gets sick on the way. And Hayes was a player before. I mean, Hayes played for old Kanga in the past. It's not like he's just a spectator watching his little brother do it.
Yeah. So now here's SSG's reaction, and that that's. They're like, okay, well, they're doing stuff. So it's.
Here's the question: if I did not join the casting team, would I be playing right now? I think is the real
interesting.
question.
Yeah, very good point.
Would they have immediately brought me into play? The answer is probably no. My Portuguese is not good enough whatsoever, and I've purely been laughed at. When I tried to comment Portuguese when I subbed in for Mittal once or twice when I did. That was pretty embarrassing for sure. But yeah, Jules is here, reunited with his brother, and it feels so good for them for sure.
Yeah.
Old school Kanga. Maybe that synergy will come into play. Maybe this mix-up can help him take it over SSG in this rematch.
Maybe they will. I'm a bit blown away. I'm sure SSG maybe not necessarily aren't blown away because of the history it was that you had just described that Hayes has. But still, it is surprising, but it's not an unwelcome one. And I'm glad that we're going to be able to see him play if he is actually confirmed to be able to play for Kanga Esports. That's going to be fun. That's going to be just nice to watch.
I promise that these guys are better friends than this. Rochelle, apparently an absolute loner on the other side of the table, not really isolated from the group, but I'm sure he's still talking to them through that headset. And this actually raises a bit of a concern for me for Hayes on the other side, because does he play IO?
Yeah. Oh, good point.
Does he on support? That's going to be kind of interesting. But SSG on this side, we've seen how good they've looked so far. As qualifier bracket, SSG is scary. Look back to last year. Look at now. I think they've had a fantastic performance so far. And this is a team that really turns it on when the pressure's on. They know how to perform when elimination is on the line.
That is 100% true. And on top of that, this is going to have to be not only a very interesting set, but it's going to have to be able for Kanga to, really show their stuff. And once again, maybe they don't quite as care whether they win or they lose at this point. They are guaranteed a pretty good spot regardless of that. And with Hayes subbing in, I guess that is indicative of that.
Maybe they just don't mind whatever team they're facing against. Either way, you're going to have to study for a different team. All the top 4 teams waiting in the World's bracket are very, very good. I'm sure they're still going to try. It's still practice.
Yes.
It's still practice for sure. Changing up the roster, getting Hayes some experience. I think it's going to be a good match regardless. I'm sure Kanga want to be able to take it back to SSG after they took the round earlier.
I agree with that 100%. We're taking a look at the map bans. Frog Isle is going to be gone from SSG. Splitstone on the flip side are going to be gone for Kanga Esports. And Stonekeep gone for SSG, and Timbermill is what will be banned last for Kanga Esports.
Split and Timber for Kanga. Timber seems more general. Split seems a little more targeted towards SSG, I think. And Frog and Stone, I think, just maps that SSG doesn't really want to play. Stone, it never really stood out to me as a map that they're dying to play. So we'll have to see where they do end up wanting to go with these maps taken out. A lot of SSG's favorites are open. I mean, Shattered, Serpent, a lot of different places they could go to have a map that they would be favored on. I think still so many maps in the game too. 14, even with the 2 bans per team. There's still a bunch left at the end of the game, so it's hard to practice all of them. Map 1 advantage to SSG. Actually, so far I forgot. Because of the map 1 advantage, this is actually Kanga's pick.
Right.
And they want to go to Ice Mines.
Yes, indeed. They do want to go to Ice Mines. They want to have a little bit of a slower map pace. I mean, once again, they are down 1 game due to the advantage it is that SSG has. And that is confirmed. That is where Gara will be. He will be back there with the coach headset on.
Unless Gara's drafting arm is too tired and Hayes is stepping in for that. Hard to tell for sure, but both power tanks banned. Strix Willow, very standard across the board, and considering Hayes is subbing in, it might have to stay standard.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Willow, Makoa, Atlas, Strix, pretty standard bans all around, and Nara will be what Kanga decide to lock in. First, they want that point tank presence, that ability to be able to tank a lot of stuff and also be able to live, so on and so forth. And Khan's being hovered on SSG's side. That's actually, okay, that's pretty standard as well. Okay, so they're going Barrack, Khan so far.
I don't know if I really like the Inara pick, considering Barrack was still open and Khan has been so dominant over Ashe pretty much this entire time, this entire tournament. 56% win rate for him, 86% pick rate. So that high of a win rate with that high of a pick rate I think is pretty impressive. Kanga falling back to what they've been picking all tournament, BK for Evil Eye. Very strong. Definitely better than Eevee on this map, for sure. Coughing, adjusting his glasses, getting ready to play. And Ying on the other side too. Ying, good support, probably one Hayes has experience with, and fantastic at Ice Mines because of that dismount potential.
Yeah, I agree with that. You have the Bomb King available and ready for Kanga Esports, and you have the Ying is going to be able to be not only hovered, but locked in for Kanga Esports. Genos, Victor as well. Both of these characters are going to be locked in for SSG.
That's a great draft, I think, so far for them. Victor, fantastic on this map. Pretty good against the Bomb King as well, being able to lock down some angles with just raw damage, honestly. And Luminary's going to boost it even more. Ying, Genos, I think you should always expect to see these two picked on this map. Just the ability to dismount is so impactful. Ashe coming in on the other side for Kanga. Rhino just had a great performance with it, so I don't think they're actually too unhappy with that. But the Khan overpower on the other side, the Genos Void Grip, there's a lot of things that can screw over the Ashe when she's trying to bash out or land her Assert Dominance. So, going to be a very tough game for Rhino, but if any off-tank could do it, I think it would be him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, once again, Ashe, Cassie be able to counter out that Bear, counter out that Khan a little bit. Sky, what do you think about this, Kresnik?
I think that against any other tanks, we'd be feeling pretty good, but it's going to be an Ashe instead. Okay. I don't think it's a good tank combo on Sky.
Neither do I.
Against, I think you want to see Inara Makoa. It might not be bad against Inara Ashe. I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, to see it ending the draft for SSG, but could be in instead Guillotine. Okay. Kind of fills that role as well.
Yeah, it does indeed fulfill that role effectively, and that is who SSG are going to lock in very, very last. Both drafts are locked in, and once again, they are available and ready. Hayes being on the Ying, I suppose. I mean, that's. I guess
I'm excited to see that.
I'm excited to see that too, man. I'm ready to see some good old Paladins for sure.
See how Hayes has atrophied over time. You know, it's been quite a while, but SSG have a really scary draft, and we're gonna have to see a good Hayes if Kanga want to stand a chance.
Yeah, this game 2 will be extremely amazing. SSG versus Kanga Esports. So let's not waste any time and throw it down to your casters.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Kanga versus SSG, round 2. Electric
Ding,
Boogaloo
ding.
today. Ding ding, SSG. Because they're the winners, they have not lost at all this week. Kanga coming up from the losers bracket, give SSG a 1-win lead here in this set. So 2 wins away, and they're gonna have Hayes filling in for them. Hey, listen, I guess if it's you're already qualified, you're 1 or 2 seed. At this point, you've watched them play all their games. Why not jump in the seat? This is really your last chance. You don't want to be doing it on Saturday, so give it a go now. Right?
Do whatever you can. You know, Dave, I'll tell you.
He's on the Inara.
I actually didn't know if he was gonna have an account. And there goes.
I was surprised,
Garrett
actually.
gave us the patented Hayes look as he walked by the booth.
We've been getting it from Hayes a lot. Actually, I haven't casted Kanga this week since Hayes has been back, so I haven't gotten the Hayes look,
that's
and I'm sad about it.
And I cast SSG Kanga already today. This is part 2
just a couple of feet to the side. There's Hayes, big old smiles. So who's on the Ying? That's the question. We figured it would be Hayes.
They've got their giggle boxes. I'm pretty sure that's a band mount. We need to get the admins in here. I'm like 95% sure that's a fine right there.
Watch, this is going to be the most lopsided.
This is going to be the most winning Kanga roster ever.
Oh, you know what? Hayes is going to be in the stat log after this set, so watch him just have an absurd performance, unfortunately.
You want to finish that sentence real fast?
His first action as a player here in this qualifier week is unfortunately a death. And Evil Eye shortly to follow thereafter. So SSG feeling good about their chances in this one. And remember, you know, if we look at the quarterfinals we have set here as the mid-fight kind of rages on, I'll cycle back to that in a moment, but Aries on this Xin snags a couple of kills for himself. Good wall, actually, from Hades. Maybe has Aries in a bad spot. Hades finds the kill. He dies and comes right back in. And it's a kill for Papa Hades, but that's about all they get as SSG go up 1. Analyze
Yeah,
score.
that's, well, here's my analysis. You have Envy or Virtus Pro based on this set.
Yeah.
Kanga won Virtus Pro.
Sure.
It seems to be the way it's going. I think both of these teams would be happy with that outcome. I don't know if SSG have really a preference. I mean, I asked them after the last interview, who do they want to play? And their exact answer was, we don't care, we'll win. We're winning from here on out, or something like that.
Well, I remember I asked Sadak earlier in the week, and I was like, depending on how you know, these games go, do you care about similar question? And he kind of said, well, we're gonna have to beat everyone at some point anyway to move on.
That's not wrong.
It's not wrong. So they're feeling confident, obviously, about where they're at, as they should. 2 kills on the board for Kanga. One of them is Hades. The other is Evil Eye, but that's about where this stops for Kanga Esports. The Spacestation Gaming continue their roll forward. Freeze God on the victor. That's not something we get to see very often. This is a treat of a game as far as seeing people on different characters. This one's going to roll through in 3 minutes.
But what I love is that SSG, so like Kanga have done like Rhino back on DPS for the first time. Hades is in here playing tank. You've got Chronix on Ying, right? It's pretty outrageous changes.
Yeah.
But then when you look at SSG, they're like, all right, Freeze God, you can do whatever you want. But like, also we're still going to put Sadako on. We're still going to put Richel on Barry.
No
like,
roll swaps.
We want to like.
There you go, Hades.
We want to mess around, but we don't want to lose.
Right. Right.
It's good
And
for
that's
them.
what's at stake here. No, I mean, it's what is at stake. I mean, we already have Na'Vi versus Knights for
Yeah.
Saturday.
It's an
NIP
interesting one.
versus Renegades, and then the last 2 spots will be filled in at the conclusion of this set. I'm sure Desk will fill everyone in on that at the end of the day. Still
I'm
a
not
set
kidding. We
be
got to
played,
get
though.
Mallory in on this. She's got to know about this mount.
You're torn up about it, Gore.
It's. I think it's only bothering me because it's not a horse, and I'm so used to it just
Right.
generically
Just
being
the
a
horse.
horse. It's the same mount I use in game. I don't know why it bugs me so much.
Because you want to be the only one who can use it.
I'm the only Indara who can use this mount. All right, Hayes,
That's
you
right.
got to get out of here.
That's right. Similar start from Kanga. They're going to move right on through this area here. He's going toe-to-toe with Aries. 1v1 going the way of Hades. As Aries whirls away. Hades stares him down, does the damage. He turns tail up onto his wall and right back down. Dome shield, seismic crash, connects right into his own wall. Spear hanging high. And Hades drops back down. A bit of a blunder there for Kanga Esports.
Well, you know what they say, Dave.
Tell me.
If you can't play, you coach. And then, well, as Kresnik has proven, if you can't coach, you cast. So either way, you're in the perfect position. Ouch.
Oh, God.
That's a burn on us. Either way.
I don't know.
This is looking like a good lead for SSG. I guess we'll go into actual analysis. They've got a good draft. Aries is having maybe the roughest game of them all, but everything else actually working out. Hades, well, actually not going to get grabbed up. They grab Chronix, still one of the biggest threats on the team, even on Ying, and they get rid of him.
Yeah, we've had our fun here. Hades is in the game, and unfortunately not hitting his seismic crash there. One more clean mid-fight for SSG. Aries not only is the only one who has died, but has died 3 times. Gore's doing some counting here. ladies and
19.
gentlemen.
I was just trying to figure out how many deaths they have as of right now. 3 and 19 total for the team. They come through. Looking pretty solid for SSG. I mean, at this rate, you can also cloak it and say maybe they're hiding some strats if you're Kanga.
Yeah,
You're not
sure.
having to pull
No, I
out
mean,
the tough stops to
I
get
always-
first place.
I always wondered this week, you know, if we get to this point, you know, they're still trying, and you know, SSG looking like they're going to get this one done pretty convincingly, but once qualifiers happen, and I think once you kind of lock yourself in either that 3rd or 4th spot, and then either this 1st or 2nd spot, think you maybe go into kind of cloak and dagger mode, maybe try to win, but do it in more of a conventional, uninteresting way. SSG have just kind of brute forced this game. Hades a bit caught out of position there. Payload rolls on in. And SSG, I'll call that their easiest map win of the year.
I mean, they've been kind of coasting through this bracket, if I'm being honest. Like, they hit, what, one big snag with Kanga in actually losing a map. But other than that, they were, what, 3-0, 3-0, 3-1, 3-0. There's the Gara. That time, it's a little more emotive than Hades. And Hades normally, like, walks by and does, like, a... and then, like, keeps going.
And it's always after wins. Hades will walk by after a loss and completely shield his eyes from us. But after a win, he gives us kind of like the little smirk and the nod. Absolutely. Kanga, they do drop on Ice Mines. SSG, pretty convincing for them there. I mean, if all of this holds standard, we don't know. Maybe Kanga pivots back. But we're looking at a
the reverse
SSG.
Sweep. That's what they were
the
going
reverse
for.
sweep here. They're setting us up. They're setting the stage for it. If we're looking at, though, an SSG versus NV quarterfinal, if this last map kind of holds true.
Yep.
That's one I'm very excited to watch. Game 3 right after this break.
Welcome back, guys. SSG, I mean, I guess, would it be too mean to say unsurprisingly took that map over Kanga?
I mean, with the way that Kanga were playing once we got into the game, I would say unsurprising, very dominant from SSG, I think, throughout. So much pressure from their composition that Victor against the Inara, and the Inara was running, Hades was running treacherous ground on that Inara, so less damage reduction. Hades is an old school player. That is like a 2017 strat, running Cripple Inara on Ice Mines, mounting as fast as you can at their choke point. One way to do it for sure. He's definitely playing old school, but interesting for him to break it out. I'm actually kind of happy to see it again.
So am I.
For sure, but I don't know if it was what his team needed.
Yeah, neither do I. But, I mean, that is just how it is going to be. And, of course, in the post-game stats, you can see more of the story here. Chronics, healing a little bit under, mid-tile. Mid-tile, once again, over-healing, or really, I guess just say healing more than Chronics was able to actually output. And four members of their team were actually undying on SSG side. 8-3-3 for Ares as well. They gave him the Zen. He definitely made it work for him.
Yeah, sure. Top frags. I mean, Freeze God did a ton of damage, 8-0, but making Zin work into a Cripple Lunar is not easy. It's actually very difficult. You can't use your Whirl or your Billow when you're in that treacherous ground, so you have to play very, very carefully. He was able to make it work. Walled off there by Hades, but jumped and spammed over it. When the wall decayed, he was able to go through. That's the value of Zin, since his projectiles are so big, mid-air inaccuracy really isn't a huge issue.
Right, exactly. And I mean, you of course see the ability it is where he has to be able to push a lot of these people, pretty much run them down. That's the power it is that Zen can have, especially when you put it in the right hands of somebody like Ares. And
Ares is definitely a longer time Zen player. To remember before the rework to Zin's Billow and everything, it was something that came up a lot. Old Zen was very, very sustainable, very strong for SSG because they love that chaos, right? They love anything that can buy time. Old Zin is the time buyer. I mean, Old Billow is better than current Ice Block, and Ice Block can already get overtime and completely flip a fight for a team.
That's for sure. And I mean, once again, we've seen times where, we have seen instances where overtime has played a big enough role exactly like that, and has been able to flip the script extremely well. I mean, we saw it with Renegades versus Kanga literally last match on that map with Stone Keep. Overtime was there, but I mean, Kanga were able to just flip things around.
Yeah, for sure. And we're gonna be heading to
Frozen
Frozen Guard here.
Okay.
We're staying cold. That's what SSG are trying. That's what Kanga are trying to do. They're trying to ice SSG. Clearly, so far, not working. We'll have to see if that does manage to turn around. Bit of a backline-centric map because the angles are very wide. A lot of spaces you can play. Watch the point. Not necessarily the best point tank map, so not surprised Kanga would go here if they want to play some IO.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, of course, we will have to see if the draft is going to be the same. Well, I can't say the same, but how they're going to be able to adapt this draft to potentially better fit their the players it is they're actually going to be going up against. Because again, I mean, the draft from Kanga last time wasn't too bad, but I mean, this go around, I mean, it could really make the difference.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they draft this time. I mean, I'm surprised that Hayes was playing tank. I believe he was a tank in the past, but just shocked they didn't just slot him into Gara's position and see how that works from there. Into the drafts here, Kanga first banning Willow. Not the best on this map, but it looks like we actually have Gara back. Bit of an experiment, clearly did not work out, and Kanga are here to play.
Yeah, Willow, Cassie, both of them gone out of the way, and then Atlas will indeed be the very, very first ban for SSG. And, of course, they're still considering who they might want to go second. It's going to be the IO this go-around. They're actually going to allow Kanga to have one of those open power tanks.
I mean, it's just Makoa that's left.
That's true.
So we'll see if Kanga will take it. But this isn't the best map for Makoa. It's very wide. Very, very wide. So we'll have to cross a lot of distance. And they know that. So get the best backline in the game, Strix, and force them onto this Makoa. With Cassie banned, though, it will be a little bit easier.
Right.
SSG also can get someone else with it. Maybe they grab an Ashe and they can cross that distance. But Maeve instead, so they can have that flexibility between mobility and hard backline poke.
Right, exactly. I mean, you've got the Makoa, you've got the Maeve, and already you're finding yourself in a situation where you seem to be like your draft is looking pretty good. And like you were saying, Cassie is gone, dude. I mean, that's a pretty big counter to Makoa, especially with big game. So, I mean, I'm glad that he's able to actually be picked and sort of have not necessarily a free reign, but definitely it'll be easier for him to be able to play. Kanga respond with Barracon, though.
Barracon will be a pretty solid pick. It does get a little bit destroyed by Record, though. So if SSG end up with Leon or Victor, that's going to be very, very strong. I think to burst down those shields, not let them get away with much of anything. I mean, SSG could even go Vivian. I mean, we've seen that from them before plenty of times. Strix, though, I want to see what kind of impact it can have. I know it's very strong, but the aggression from SSG might be able to overrun him. They're going to have to protect him very, very well to make it work out. Furia to inflame right into that Strix, burn down those shields even faster. And Ashe, like I said, that's the aggressive follow-up that you really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, you have Makoa, Maeve, Furia. Ashe is being hovered, but once again, it's more than likely going to be picked in this case. Or actually, they could go for the more sustainability, but they will go for the Ashe. I mean, I was going to try and argue the fact that, I mean, could you have seen a point take there potentially? Could you have seen the Yanara pick
could have,
Makoa?
but I don't know. I think this is better.
That's too much for sure. Oh, Sky.
This would be a great. This would be a great
This will
Sky
be
pick.
good. Yes.
This is definitely where you want to be playing
agree.
Sky, and I'm not surprised to see it come out. I had heard whispers in the night about Sky seeing play outside of matches, and we might be able to see it here. 2% pick rate, but this is the dream draft, I think, to play Sky into. Maybe Makoa and Nara instead. But Debilitate is going to do so much damage to Makoa, so much damage to Ashe. It really is not as bad as people probably think it is. The only problem is that Illuminate is going to own it. I mean, Sky and Strix, Illuminate gets so much value.
That is going to be almost unstoppable, if not extremely hard for Makoa to be able to fight back against it. I mean, once the Illuminates come online, it'll be easier to be able to fight that Sky. But at the same time, it's the possibility that she's just going to end up getting melted. That's even more so. I mean, that he's going to end up getting melted. The Makoa is just even more so prevalent to me. But they are going to lock down the Vivian. You have mentioned it before. We have seen the Vivian before, and I believe Ares will more than likely be put onto this Vivian. SSG already up once again 2-0 against Kanga. The first match being a map advantage. Whose draft do you like more though, Chris?
I gotta say SSG's. I think the Vivian pick at the end was what really helped turn it around. Having the sensor drone against Sky and Strix is going to be really impactful, but also that pure shield shred against Barrack and Khan is going to help a lot too. I think that's why they pick him over Tyra. Tyra is better definitely at like hardcore countering stealthy characters, but Vivian has the flexibility to do both, and we know how hard she can shred Barrack and Khan.
Right, exactly. I mean, once again, you hold down the left click occasionally, you'll hold down right click, but that opportunity in chaos, it can shred so many shields, so many tanks, and maybe we could see if SSG can end up shredding this game 2-0 against Kanga Esports, but game 3 is on its way.
Well, SSG, they just need one more over Kanga to lock in their quarterfinal matchup. Kanga, a little bit of return to normalcy, though. I think Hades was back behind the desk instead of at it this time. So maybe that gives Kanga a chance to come back here in this set.
Well, you know, Dave, I know a lot of focus on quarterfinals, but I think we can cut it off since you know, tomorrow's like the break. They will be your PWC Qualifiers champions. That sounds much cooler than your first seed going in to quarterfinals, especially for SSG. I mean, this is a team, they're looking for it all. They're not just trying to go to quarterfinals. They want to make it to semis. They want to make it to finals. And honestly, Dave, there's a team that I think can do it. They are one of them. They always show up at the end of the year.
That's always been the conversation of how many teams could you make a good argument for, and I think that this year, a lot of them, SSG, no exclusion there. Aries and Rochelle start off this game, potentially the final game of this qualifying week. A nice couple of kills. They're going to pull back, finally get Mitau on that point, garner themselves a few percentage points as Freeze God tears through Joel's. And look at the pivot. They are still pivoting. Freeze God on this Vivian and putting Aries on that Mate.
You know, they didn't do it this way, but it's a festive map choice. Winter Wonderlands that we've gone to. Either way, it's looking pretty good from them, 69% rising. A lot of this control is probably going to be figuring out Skye, shutting her down, and then just keeping Evil Eye on lock. Once that happens, it's usually going to be pretty good, but that's what she can do.
Oh, no.
Sadak, full health. Sadak, no health.
Yeah, it blinked, and suddenly Sadak was dead there. Unfortunately for Kanga, it comes at the expense of point number 1. SSG were in control of this mid this entire time, but so much of this kit revolves around hitting that volley of poison bolts. You can see there just a shot to the side for Evil Eye, and then the rest of it just doesn't quite connect the same. Great fight back here, though, from Kanga. So the defense, with 2 minutes left, looking good.
As Makoa, Maeve, and presumably Freeze God here pick up, well, the items that 2 of them have already picked up, tier 2 of Illuminate. Will come through. It's not often you get to talk about it. I think it's been coming up a lot more, mainly because of how prominent Strix has been. Stealth, very, very big issue to deal with, but not a lot of champions bring it to the table. Shaolin can, Strix can, Skye can. 2 of them on one team. It's a no-brainer. It's also one of the most direct ways to counter Skye. She's going to kill you incredibly fast, no matter what point in the game you are, unless you can kill her first. She doesn't have a lot of health. So all you have to do is see her before she sees you, and maybe be able to get rid of her before she's in that effective kill range.
And that works out for SSG here. They were able to kind of withstand some of that early pressure. Be careful. Veronic's still very dangerous on that Strix. But, you know, Evil Eye on that Skye shredded, 1 or 2 targets down a little bit, but then everyone from SSG kind of turned their heads, dealt with the Skye all at once, and get this payload moving. So still a chance for them to get a push here, but you're fighting back into a Strix. That doesn't sound very fun.
Not at all, honestly, especially coming around this pass. Once you get, well, now past this archway, this barrier, this building, that is kind of the 50% marker, you're out in the open. And Strix, he loves the open. You can already hear a lot of shots coming off. Freeze God goes down, so the hit scan presence maybe to counter that is going to disappear. A lot more pressure falls onto Aries to potentially get up there and deal with him, but it looks like Chronix is dealing with Aries.
They're going to have to wait one more kind of volley of respawns here, SSG. They're going to have 5 ultimates, everything but 3 time in space, though, for Kanga. Going to go back, spend those credits, close enough to base, so why not? 8 seconds left, overtime to begin momentarily. One last fight for SSG. Rochelle thinks about moving in, but Chronix shuts that one down. A couple headshots, couple of kills. Chronix on the Strix gets it done.
That had to be in tandem with some poison darts. There's no way that one headshot did 3/4 of his health bar. And that is where it is. 22,500 damage. He's about 20,000 behind Chronix and what he's been able to do. But both 2-2-6, 3-2, and 5 helping each other out a little bit more along the way. I'm actually very, very happy with what Strix has been able to do. I want to say something about what you just did, Dave, but I can't think of a good way to work it in other than it made me laugh.
It's the mystery of the caster booth. Nobody will ever know.
That is true.
They have some illuminates now, though, for Evil Eye. Illuminate 3 actually for Sadak,
Wow.
so you're going to get some good range. And a lot of that even, I mean, if you really want to dive into it, extra vision for those hooks. If you're able to lock down that sky, you can effectively eliminate some of what she brings to the table. Midnight used as well as the Inflame. SSG looking to fight now. Dome Shield used to counter it out by Joel's. But up to the side he goes, overpower, good. You got to get the distance, though, especially with a Maeve, so you're just going to send her straight down. Rhino finds the kill. Freeze God, though, trades out one as well.
And it's one of those things, you see Barrick dashes back on, sometimes Makoa dashes back on. Ash might be able to get her movement in time, or if you're an Nara, you can use your ult. Maeve doesn't need any of that. You throw her out, double jump, pounce, reset, pounce, and you could find yourself right back onto the map. So you have to be very cautious with how you approach it. Unfortunately, that caution did not really work out for Kanga here.
No.
I look back up and SSG are dominating the objective, being able to find it. A lot of it does kind of work around where Evil Eye is going to be able to get aggressive, right? Where he can find those picks, where he can get or get into the fight and find that kill. And it does kind of ward away Sadak. I mean, you don't want to Ancient Rage when she's doing percentage damage, but if you can see her, again, before she can do anything, you tend to lock her down.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, Illuminate's such a cheap item, worthwhile going into. I think SSG agree with that. The no and the
that
yes,
was the
and then
most
they
pure interaction I've ever seen in Paladins.
That was incredible. He says no, he says yes, and then they turn around and walk the other way. But then Rhino walks out and dies anyway. Freeze God, I guess Freeze God wasn't in on the arrangement. And grabs the kill as the payload continues to move through time and space, just wide. 2-for-2 trade so far. Chronix. Yeah, actually, it's a great composition when you really think about it to buy Illuminated into. You got a Strix potentially at mid-ranges to identify when he's in stealth.
Especially in a lot of the moments we've seen, some of the game-saving moments that have kept payloads in overtime are Strix. I'm in stealth, running around the payload, hoping they don't find me.
Right.
Just trying to keep things going for him. Now you've got him kind of on lock. Even up here at this range where the payload is to the high ground, you'll see him when he's in stealth. So it's not going to be a problem. Might be a problem for Ares. Doesn't seem to have as much vision as the rest of his team. He's the one who keeps getting poked and prodded by this.
Yeah. Ares just jumped right in behind Evil Eye, but the rest of the team getting it done for SSG. Good hook, pulls down Joel's. Might have to get the resets here. Ancient Rage was used. Joel's not able to escape. Payload goes in. SSG 1 point away from finishing atop of this PWC qualifier week.
It's been a long bracket.
It has.
We started Sunday morning with what technically was a preliminary round for this in the Console Wars. Get your Console Wars champion. Unfortunately, Hype Unit and Flashpoint, who were second to them, were both knocked out earlier this week. But I mean, again, SSG maybe having the easiest path through it, quote unquote, because they had a little bit of a struggle with Flashpoint, but they closed out all the maps. Didn't seem to struggle too hard against Renegades. Hit one bump against the road with Kanga, and now they're here with Kanga again, and there's not any bumps in the road.
I mean, so what? They were 9-1 map-wise coming into this matchup.
And they're looking to end at 12-1.
Looking to end at 12-1. Talk about peaking at the right time. SSG seem to be a team that's doing so. Looking to end this qualifier week on a high note on top of the table. Hook in onto Joel's. Right back to the point they go. He's going to back off as the Dome Shield goes down. But immediately deleted. Flashbang flies as well. Freeze God backs off. Has another pair of Sentinels should that first one go down. Rhino hooked away.
Wow.
What a saving play by Sadak there. Chronix and Rhino both killed. It looks like SSG are feeling comfortable in this fight.
Now, I can give it that is a great way to get a kill onto Rhino. There's no world where Freeze God should still be alive.
Yep.
He was a sneeze. A stiff breeze could have come through and killed that Vivian, and he was able to walk it off and stay alive. That is just good communication, good teamwork, good crowd control coming from SSG to make sure things went through their way. A beautiful hook to set up what was a silver platter kill.
And here we go. Maybe one last zone for SSG to end the week undefeated. 90% for them. Joel's down one last time. 96 becomes 99, which becomes 100. And that 2 becomes a 3. SSG finished this week on top of the qualifier bracket.
Taking down anyone and everyone that tried to oppose them. Feeling good going out of today and going into Saturday. And their eyes are further than that. They're not just looking at the quarterfinals. They're looking at the stage at DreamHack next week as well.
And I think Kanga, they need to feel good about the way they played this week.
Oh, yes.
They come in as the second to last seed into this week, end up finishing as the second seed from this, or I guess PPL second to last seed. But they end up finishing the week second on top of the table, just behind SSG, who have had a phenomenal week. So you're going to have a day off, day of preparation, big day on Saturday.
And honestly, I'd argue works out pretty well for these top 2 seeds. I mean, SSG, you get Envy, a team that you have, again, just met so many times, done pretty well against this year. But, last year they were the ones who ended your dreams at Worlds. We'll have to ask them about that in a second.
Oh, that's right.
If you're Kanga, you're going up against Virtus Pro, feeling maybe confident, more confident, I think, in that matchup than any of the other 3 you could have gone against.
Yep.
I'd argue Knights and Renegades are the ones that are probably the most worried going into Saturday. Na'Vi, NIP, both incredibly dominant teams. They're going to be the ones that you kind of have to keep your eye on and really stress out.
I agree. I mean, at the moment, those top 2 kind of look like the most discrepant, don't they?
Yeah.
So it depends if we get kind of early to today Renegades, if we get, the Knights, the end
if
of
we get
PPL
today
split Knights.
Na'Vi
Lots of stuff to look out for on Saturday. That does it. Qualifier week done. And that means we're going back to the desk.
Heck yeah! Qualifier week is done, and that means that upcoming onto Saturday is going to be some super, super awesome matches, which I'm mega excited for. And then actually, it's going to be really, really interesting, especially... Wait, what's up with that?
No, that was just very anime protagonist energy of you, and I was shocked.
I was happy.
The levels that we switched to from the walk here to now were night and day. But night and day. Kanga wanted Knight to strike, so these stealthy champions could work out, but good damage across the board for them, but they just couldn't find the kills.
They could not indeed, and that is correct. I mean, once again, Sky, with the damage, you had the 52,426 to be able to sort of round that out, trying to go up against the McCall, but once again, it was just, despite the damage numbers being low, they just played that extremely well. They played it together, and that is what is most important, and you see that in the slash lines more than you do the numbers.
And, I mean, the aggression in the comp, I think, was the biggest thing, right? They just couldn't stop the push coming in from SSG. Vivian's pretty fast, especially when she's getting sped up by an Inflame. Mitao actually tying FRZ in kills. And I honestly, my brain just auto-completed the names, and when I saw Ares get a kill on Maven, I'm like, oh, wait, that's been FRZ on Vivian this entire time. But Mitao on that Furia, I think, so important for them. Furia kind of shifted into the meta while they weren't here. Picked it up over time, and I think it fits SSG perfectly.
I think it does too, man. I mean, you have those one-on-one engagements, or at least the burst healing, I should be saying more exclusively. And it's just a lot to be able to deal with, especially on the opposing enemy side. You have the double kill, Joel's and Chronics as well. I mean, they tried to do what they could, but it's hard to stop that with an Inflame and with that much healing at your back.
That much hit scan damage too, since once you have the meter filled up, the Wrath meter, you're firing so fast, it's actually pretty easy to keep track of that Sky. So the stealth, not as good of an escape for Evil Eye as he'd probably like it to be, especially inside that smoke screen. He was running a build with Healing Vapors 5, which means you really don't want to get shot. You want to just keep healing up when you're running around there, but Mitao spraying, finding those angles, basically negating all of that healing. I think it was a pretty big deal in terms of turning around the Sky's value.
Right, exactly. And I mean, on top of that, of course, we got to talk to the winners, guys. It's pretty standard around here. We got to throw down the interview to Sadak and Ares.
That's right, Sadak and Ares sitting by with us. First of all, congrats, guys. 3-0 to end your week. It was a long week. You guys play a few sets, only drop a single map all week long. So kind of looking back, how you feeling? I can't imagine you feel bad about your performance this week. Are you guys feeling good about where you're at right now?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty confident. I think this week is what we needed to get so much confidence for the HRX, and I think we are really prepared for this moment.
I've got to ask the hard one. I got to interview you already once today, and you said you weren't really worried about anybody that you're going to be facing, but first seed here means you're going up against fourth seed from the PPL, so Envy will be your target on Saturday. And they're the guys that ended you in Game 7 last year. You feeling good about this matchup? A little nervous, or how are the feelings going into that?
We need to revenge that. We still got them on our throat, you know. They're right here. It was pretty close, the last one, and we're really more prepared this time. And I think it's going to be a great one again.
What was it like playing against Tades a little bit there on the Ice Mines? I know it was a fun matchup.
The outplays with the cripple, man. I didn't see it coming.
You a few times?
Huh?
You said he outplayed you a few times?
Oh, yeah, with the cripple. I didn't see it coming.
I'm running out of questions for this one. Frozen Guard, I guess, came through. You got the Illuminate. That was actually one of the few skies that we've seen this tournament. Was there anything special you had to do against that, or was it just bioluminescent?
I mean, I have no idea. I mean, the sky was just there, and okay, they have a sky now. Just get illuminated, and that's it. I don't know.
Well, congratulations. You in this week as the PWC qualifier champions. You're going in as first seed from this tournament to the quarterfinals. So it's going to be an interesting Saturday. You have a day to prepare for that one. I'm sure you want to get to it. Right now you can relax, rest on your laurels, and feel happy with it. Congratulations once again. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. And I mean, absolutely congratulations to SSG right there. I'm going to be excited to see what everybody has in store for Saturday, too. It's going to be a banger, dude. I mean, there's a lot of good teams.
Imagine trying to coach those guys.
Yeah.
What happened there? Oh, the sky was there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, great. Thank you for your perspective, Sadak. Excellent. But what a run. What a run we've had these last couple of days from Sunday to now. Went through the console wars.
Look
went
at
through
all that, dude.
everything getting put together. But finally, we're at the end of the road.
Yeah, indeed we are. And I mean, you see it right there. I mean, once again, Renegades being able to beat pretty much the all business, the minor league
Close
team.
game there.
They lost to SSG. Yeah, very, very close game. Once again, SSG was able to beat Kanga twice today, but Knights lost to Kanga a little bit before that, which put him in a loser's bracket. And Renegades tear, dude, through the PML team, through the Knights, and then unfortunately they lose to Kanga.
Got to say shout out to Flashpoint again there for upsetting all business
100%,
as well.
yes.
And also SSG dropped one map in 4 days. That's something that's a good look for them for sure, moving in beyond this into the quarterfinal bracket.
Yeah, exactly. And then we're going to take a look at the quarterfinal bracket, guys. This is it. This is what we're going to be looking at. Nanas Vincier will be playing the Knights, Envy, SSG, NIP, Renegades, and Virtus Pro Kanga to round things off.
And this is I think this is a great place for the 5th and 6th seeds to be for sure. We know SSG likes playing against Envy, and I think VP and Kanga is a close matchup for them too. NIP Renegades, that could honestly, for me, that's kind of a wild card matchup too. Always looking at Renegades to be the wild card, especially with how they performed, I think, this week as time went on. And NIP has some wacky drafts too. If Renegades come in with something NIP aren't expecting, the adaptation might not be there in time.
I mean, just like what Dave was saying, I mean, do we get the Renegades from earlier today, or do we end up getting the Renegades that ended up fighting Kanga? That's going to be the story for sure. And, of course, all other games that won't be played there, or at least on Saturday, be sure to tune in at 10 a.m., guys. We're going to be here super early.
An hour earlier.
Yeah, an hour
4
early.
best of 7s in one day.
Yeah, that's help us.
Even if you're late, you'll be here in time.
Yeah, don't worry.
For sure.
No, we'll be here. Don't worry. We'll be here for a while. It's going to be some awesome matches, though. And, I mean, once again, those that aren't played on Saturday will be played at Hi-Res Expo at DreamHack Atlanta. I hope to see some of you guys there. I'm Fawn, and this was Kresnik, and thank you guys so much for watching us for the qualifier bracket. See you guys on Saturday.
We're here live from Atlanta. The players are here. The stage is set. Let's get down for esports!
This is where we also talk about the new stuff that we've got coming out for you all.
HRX is literally my favorite time of year. It truly isn't close. This is what I live for.
If that's second place, I can't wait to see what first place is.
It is HRX.